KPFK-related video. Recently, Jimmy Dore has had on Chris Hedges and Richard Wolff, Professor Richard Wolff, two well-known KPFK personalities. Both of them have shows that air on KPFK, which is a Pacifica station. It's a part of 5-station network. Los Angeles, Berkeley, D.C., Houston, Texas, and where's the other one? New York. New York City, WBAI, where Katie Halper is from. Katie Halper's out of WBAI. She's a Pacifica refugee. So I'm just trying to tie some things together here with these people that come up out of this KPFK, this decimal point for a speaker, decimal point for a listenership station. But it's.
Welcome, Chris, to our program.
Chris Hedges, how are you?
Okay, here we go. This is the video I found. So you see right here.
Welcome, Chris, to our program.
Boom, boom, boom. You see those letters? KPFK. Boom, boom, boom. And you see down here, Aniel Field's name right there. That's the general manager, current general manager of KPFK, the station here. He's got this channel. He made this in October 2018. This is the only video he's got up there. It's got 109 views and 1 like. I mean, what was the point here? So I just wanted to see, this is official KPFK. This is the general manager here. This is official KPFK video.
Chris Hedges, how are you?
I've spent over 3 decades as a journalist.
Okay, now this is Chris Hedges. I like Chris Hedges. I have no reason to argue against Chris Hedges. I like the things he says. I like to listen to him talk. He seems to have his finger on the pulse, man, of what's going on. However, I don't like when Pulitzer Prize winning journalists fail journalism 101. And that is when they go on a show with a guy that has that is associated with the same station you are, and nobody says a word about it. Where both people have been involved in fundraising activities for that station, and both people have given heartfelt testimonials on air about the importance of that station in the journalism landscape. And if it goes away, there's not going to be anything out. Who gets their news from radio anymore? I mean, the whole spiel is bullshit. And KPFK is so important. Places like KPFK, please donate. Please go give us some money. I mean, it sickens me. It sickens me. If you're going to ask for money, and then it's like these guys play down and dirty with KPFK in the dark. It's like with a hooker. You know, you'd go visit a hooker at a hotel, but you wouldn't invite her back to your house to meet your family. It's the same thing with these guys. They play down and dirty with KPFK, airing their shows over there, using them for promotion to sell their books and movies and appearances and blah, blah, blah. But then when they get on the real media, mum's the fucking word. And that pisses me off, especially somebody who claims to be a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. You are duty bound, sir. Duty fucking bound to disclose any other potentially conflicting financial and or professional arrangements. And both of you guys fundraising, airing your opinions and your shows on KPFK, Pacifica Network, and other stations, that's a conflict. And you don't mention it, that's a problem. Okay? That's a fucking problem. None of them do. Not Chris Hedges, not Greg Palast, not Professor Richard Wolff. Professor Richard Wolff is, I have less animus for him. He may do. I've never seen him there fundraising. Okay, I've never seen Richard Wolff at KPFK Studios fundraising. I've got a head full of memories about Greg Palast being on every other show when they're doing their fundraisers. He's on every other freaking show, claiming Hugo Chavez. Speaking for Hugo Chavez from the grave, please send in some money. Hugo Chavez would want you to send money to KPFK. That's what he said. I'll play a clip of it later, and I'll play a clip of Jimmy Dore slinging the stuff for KPFK for you to send in money to. Now, what are they testifying to? Why is KPFK so important? What makes it? I mean, at one time, yes. It was very important as a station, but no longer. No longer. It's been taken over. It's NPR Light now. From the mainstream shows are NPR Light. But I'm getting off the point. Chris Hedges fundraises at KPFK. He promotes his books there. He is interviewed there. Jimmy Dore has a show there. He fundraises there. Okay, but then when Chris comes on Jimmy's show, mum's the word. Hey, right? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Hey, we don't talk about that station down the street. KPFK. It's in North Hollywood. On their website, the studio is located in North Hollywood. Maybe it's Studio City specifically. I don't know. But North Hollywood covers that area. North Hollywood is that area. There may be a number of incorporated cities within the North Hollywood area. But Jimmy lives in Pasadena. Pasadena is a stone's throw from North Hollywood, a few zip codes away maybe. Okay, but none of them, they can't talk. Jimmy can't talk about it.
Welcome, Chris, to our program.
Chris Hedges, how are you?
I've spent over 3 decades as a journalist, and over my career I've watched the degeneration of the American media.
You have written many, many books that have become bestsellers.
This book, America.
Jerry Quickly. I've made a dozen videos on Jerry. I had him removed from the station. I was the impetus for his removal from the station, for his malfeasance, on-air malfeasance. You can go back and look up my one video. It's got 800 views. But he did great interviews. Jerry Quickly did great interviews, but everything else he was a horror show.
Farewell tour.
I wanted to write about the pathologies that arise in the decayed culture.
Oh, and Greg Palast, that's my other nemesis. Because when
Capitalism no longer has credibility. Trump perpetuates what is a characteristic of all totalitarian societies, and that's the permanent lie.
Here they all are. When Jerry was being removed from the station, Greg came on his show and gaslighted people about Jerry Quick credentials as a journalist, where he was going after that, why he was being fired. He said it was a thing about money. The money had run out, and people needed to send in money, right? But none of that was true. None of it was true. Greg lied. For Jerry, okay, that's one of the few times you can lie and it's okay to save a friend. Okay, I get it. But not as a journalist, on air, at an independent radio station, a so-called independent radio station, okay? There's just too many weird things about this station. The fact that none of them mention it when they're on real TV shows, real news shows. None of them mention it. And I've been to meetings. I've spent the last 2 years going to meetings on and off, listener station board meetings. And the first meeting I went to at the beginning of 2 years sounded exactly the same as the last one I attended after 2 years of participating. The needle had not moved one bit. They were bickering and arguing over the same stuff. Every meeting is just a replay of the last meeting, arguing, bickering, accusations. Oh man, it's so. The general manager confessing a donation had gone missing, a allowance when somebody dies and they donate money. What's that called? It had just gone missing, and crickets. Nobody brought it up after that. I'm like, wait, money's missing. We got to get to the bottom of this. We've got to find out who did it, and we got to have them prosecuted, man. Nope. And their whole focus is on we got to get listenership up. We got to have a listener task force. We got to have a subscriber task force and get people to. But no, they're missing the whole point. It's the programming that's not attracting the listenership. That's the problem.
Permanent lie.
But they don't get it. Where's Greg? What
is a characteristic of all totalitarian societies, and that's the permanent lie.
Greg is a bit of Chris is a bit of a broken record.
Neoliberalism, global capitalism no longer has credibility.
Where the fuck?
Mythologies that
There he is.
arise,
There he is.
things that
There he
arise,
is.
and
There he is.
things that arise.
There he is. Greg Palast. Oh my God. InfoWars correspondent, former InfoWars correspondent. Okay. Now, if you're a real journalist, would you go anywhere near Alex Jones? If you're a real journalist, and you're concerned about your credential, your reputation, would you go anywhere near Alex Jones? Nope. But Greg went on there repeatedly, real chummy with Alex. But my main criticism, he came on to defend Jerry Quickly, who was fired from the station. It wasn't an issue of money. Greg came on and said it was an issue of money, and then Jerry came out 2 weeks later and said he was fired 2 days before Christmas. So the whole thing was a freaking lie. Dude's a freaking lying douchebag.
Culture.
I can't say that about Chris yet.
Neoliberalism, global capitalism no longer has.
But none of these guys, I'm just pointing out, none of these, they're deep connections with KPFK and fundraising, et cetera, book promotion, self-promotion, speaking event promotion, website promotion. They don't get bags of money in the alley, but they get all this other stuff. And their shows are syndicated and everything else. So there's syndication money involved. I don't know how it all works, but it just smells funny.
Trump perpetuates what is a characteristic of all totalitarian societies, and that's the permanent lie. If organizations like KPFK...
Here we go. Here's the spiel. Okay? If the importance of KPFK
do not survive.
Greg Palast walking around.
Survive.
God damn it.
It extinguishes. KPFK do not survive.
God damn, Michael.
And that's the permanent lie. If organizations like KPFK do not survive, it extinguishes the most important truths, and it makes progressive change impossible.
That's pretty deep. That's a pretty deep testimonial for KPFK, isn't it? You want to hear it again?
Organizations like KPFK, permanent lie. If organizations like KPFK do not survive, it extinguishes the most important truths, and it makes progressive change impossible.
If we lose KPFK, we're not going to get any progressive change. Will become impossible. Come on, Chris. Come on. They've got a decimal point for a listenership. How influential can they be, really? But okay, so there's his spiel. There's his fundraising spiel. That's how he feels about KPFK. Fine.
Welcome, Chris, to our program.
Chris Hedges.
So there you go. That's the video I wanted to show. That's Chris Hedges, and that's how associated, and that's his belief about the importance of KPFK, right? Okay? So it's so important, yet when you have a chance to publicize it and promote it and help protect it, does he take that opportunity? Especially when, as a journalist, he's obligated to disclose his financial connections to organizations that he may have a conflict with somebody that's interviewing him, like Jimmy Dore. Now let me show you. Let's just pause for a minute. Just pause recording. Great philosopher, though. But here's Chris Hedges' show on Contact. That's his RT show, okay? It airs on KPFK Sunday mornings 9:30 for 30 minutes, okay? Economic Update with Richard Wolff, Sunday mornings 9 o'clock, 9 and 9:30, okay? For 30 minutes. Two of the most progressive voices alive today get 30 minutes buried on a Sunday morning. Does that, on the fiercely independent KPFK. If we lose remember what Chris said? If we lose KPFK, we lose the moment to recapture progressive. We lose our opportunity for real progressive change. Bullshit. If that were true, Richard Wolff and Chris Hedges would not be buried on a Sunday morning for 30 minutes. And here's the other calamity. KPFK Pacifica was born out of the anti-war movement, okay? And the one show about anti-war buried on a Sunday morning for 30 minutes with two of the most progressive voices in radio. Do you see that? Anti-War Radio, Sunday, 8:30 a.m., 30 minutes. Economic Update with Richard Wolff, Sunday for 30 minutes. Chris Hedges. And the shows that... I heard a show like that was 3 years old recently. Within the last 12 months, I listened to KPFK. And I heard an On Contact that was before, what's his name was fired, Flynn. Flynn still had a job at the White House. Over the summer I was listening, and I heard On Contact from when Flynn still had a job at the White House. I mean, it's just it's Amateurville over there, man, at KPFK. But here are two of your most progressive voices, arguably today, right? Buried on a Sunday morning at KPFK, and then Chris is going to tell us. Oh, it's so important to support KPFK because it's the last bastion of progressive change, right? And Chris, it doesn't pass the smell test, buddy. Okay, so there you see Jimmy. I can't play the fundraising thing. I'll leave a link to my vid that I made about him doing the fundraising replay. Just trust me. He's been on there doing the same thing that Chris did. Doing a testimony to the importance of KPFK and why you should support it and send in money. Okay? Trust me. He's done it. And I'll leave a vid that will prove... you can watch the vid for evidence. I just can't play it right now. My computer won't play it. Here it is. Jimmy Dore Live Pledge Drive replay from who knows when.
Because they're against net neutrality. Yeah, there's that. Plus Comcast...
This is him talking with the producer there, Alan Minsky.
Owns MSNBC, which was forbidden, if you know, that were forbidden from covering Bernie Sanders. I would like to cover Bernie Sanders. So, no, I don't think Comcast would be the... Oh, it was a little bit newsworthy, I think. It was a little bit. If you just put, say, a little stand-up where Donald Trump may speak sometime in the next hour, much more newsworthy than... Oh, definitely. You got to get a couple of cameras on that. An empty podium with Trump? Are you kidding me?
See, they were talking about February of 2019. He was mentioning Trump's empty podium. That was when he was running for office, 2015, 2016. I made this video in 2019. But Jimmy's talking about Trump's empty podium when they used to cover it, like in the primaries and when he was running for office and stuff. That's how he knew it was replay. He just those references.
They're already making references to Donald Trump's...
This is my video, commentary on my video.
Speech is being covered by MSNBC with an empty podium. How long ago was that? How long ago was that relevant in the news as a topic? Okay, a year ago? Could this replay be that old?
So, and then, driving in here again, I listened to the other quote-unquote public radio stations in Los Angeles, and I always have the same question. How many commercials can you run for a bank and still call yourself a public radio station? I say the answer...
How many local station board election debates can you hold in private and still call yourself a public radio station, Jimmy? Did you ever think of that?
Answer is zero, but apparently the other stations in
This guy's got an attitude.
Los Angeles think that it's endless. If you're a public radio station and you're sponsored by the Koch brothers, Walmart, Raytheon, and Bank of America, I don't think you're very public. And don't forget the natural gas extraction lobby or whatever. They're going to be very neutral on fracking.
So here's Jimmy yucking it up about the importance of KPFK and Pacifica and why you should send in money.
So the reason why we do these fund drives, so a lot of people say, wow, you do a lot more fund drives at KPFK than the other. Well, that's because we don't take corporate money, and that's because... Wrong.
I've been to LSB meetings, and it's been discussed. It's been mentioned. It's been talked about. Pacifica has no official policy on underwriting, so programmers, hosts, producers are able to accept money, compensation, whatever, for airtime or influence on the air, and it's basically going on. It's basically happening. But here's Jimmy telling you the opposite of that. And I believe that it's widespread that people, hosts, are accepting money without disclosing it. There's the rub. At least over at NPR, they disclose it. They tell you who's giving them money. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do, okay, to avoid conflicts of interest or even the appearance of conflict of interest. Not KPFK and not Jimmy Dore and not Chris Hedges and not Greg Palast and not Richard Wolff.
To have shows like Jimmy Dore show at words they would never touch with a 10-foot. Raytheon and Bank of America, I don't think you're very public. And don't forget the natural gas extraction lobby or whatever. They're going to be...
That was funny. Gas extraction. That was funny. The way he said it. Gas extraction lobby. It was just funny the way he said it. Jimmy got it.
Neutral on fracking. So the reason why we do these fund drives, so a lot of people say, wow, you do a lot more fund drives at KPFK than the... Well, that's because we don't take corporate money.
Jimmy... See, okay, well, here he is shilling for the station and making this claim that they don't take corporate money, that they're completely independent, which is I don't believe. I do not believe that.
That's because we get to have shows like Jimmy Dore show at work.
At 5 o'clock on a Friday for an hour, mostly doing comedy.
They would never touch with a 10-foot pole on the other. I think they still say enhanced to interrogation on the other public.
We get to have the Jimmy Dore show as a comedy show, not a news show. Okay, why don't you do straight news, Jimmy? Come on.
And Richard Wolff and Chris Hedges are buried for 30 minutes on a Sunday morning once a week.
And I feel a little bit like they're gaslighting us here, like, oh, KPFK is fierce independent radio because we have Jimmy Dore on 1 hour a week. I mean, come on. Not enough. Almost. Good try. Nice try.
Radio stations instead of what it is, torture. So that's the beauty of KPFK is they give the freedom to people like me to come in and give an anti-establishment message.
You don't come in, Jimmy. You send that show in. You don't come in. You came in today for the fundraising with Alan, or whenever you recorded this, 2016, 2017, 2018, whenever you recorded this show from the past, from the archives. You came in that day, yeah, but you don't come in to do your show. You send that in, as most people that have shows at KPFK do, even pre-COVID. This wasn't because of COVID. I mean, now it's more. Everyone's at home now. But even pre-COVID, most of the shows are just shows that they pick up that other people have produced and syndicated, et cetera, et cetera. And that's another thing about syndication. Syndication is a profit-driven business model. So I'm not sure if Jimmy gets a check or he just wants to be on the station to promote his stuff and blah, blah, blah. I don't know how all that works, but it's not right to have financial professional affiliations with a public radio station in Los Angeles and then have guests on your show who also have financial and professional relationships with that same station and not disclose it. It's journalism 101. Why would you not mention that? Even as financial considerations and malfeasance aside, why wouldn't you want to promote the show if you really feel that way about KPFK, Jimmy? If you really feel it's the last independent bastion of free speech, why wouldn't you promote the hell out of it on your wildly popular YouTube show? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, man.
And no matter
1 hour a week.
who it offends, right? Because we don't have corporate advertisers. And so that's the beauty. So we're going to ask you to show your support for them supporting me.
Prove it. Prove it, Jimmy, that KPFK doesn't have corporate advertisers. Prove it. I'm sorry, I'm just past the point of believing what people say anymore. Show me the evidence.
We have great.
Again, self-promotion in the guise of fundraising for the station. It's all a bit sordid, you know. Yeah, you're fundraising for the station, but you're also self-promoting at the same time, shilling for your book. You know, your country's just not that into you. I mean, it's all a bit, messy, and just, there's no other fundraising model to use but, having people come in and self-promote, using KPFK as a self-promotion vehicle. In the meantime, raising... Yeah, I'm just asking questions. I'm trying to understand.
Great, thank you, Gibbs. If you like my show, you must like, alternative politics plus alternative comedy. So we have this laughter from the left.
Okay. I think it's a DVD. It's like that's how old it is. They're pushing DVDs. But you get the point there. Jimmy is on KPFK, on the air, fundraising for KPFK and testifying to the importance of fiercely independent radio, public radio. Okay? Remember Chris Hedges did the same thing? Remember that in the first part of the video? So I've now shown you both Chris Hedges and Jimmy Dore are financially and professionally affiliated with KPFK radio station that is located in North Hollywood, that is near Pasadena, California, where Jimmy lives. Okay? So I've now proven that both men have professional and financial affiliations with KPFK and Pacifica Radio and have fundraised on air in videos for the station to raise money. Okay? So, what's your point, Michael? Well, I'm getting there. Maybe I'll pause it. Just pause for a second. I don't understand syndication, but I know it's a profit industry. It's for profit, and people get paid to do it, and who do that or in that get a show syndicated. That's money. That's a moneymaker, baby. So again, my argument here: Chris Hedges, Jimmy Dore, Richard Wolff, Greg Palast, deeply embedded into the KPFK Pacifica family. They're spokespeople essentially for KPFK. Okay, they're spokespeople. They're frequent guests. Jimmy has a show there. All right, they're fundraisers. They are sponsored speaking. They sponsor their speaking tours when they come to town to speak and sell books. Okay, so that's a financial professional relationship that needs to be disclosed when you're sitting across in an interview from Jimmy Dore. But do they do it? No. But it's why wouldn't you do it? Why would a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist not know the first thing about journalism 101? You disclose your relationships that may be a little awkward, that Jimmy and Chris both get checks from KPFK. I mean, that's a likely scenario. If not checks, then they get something else. I don't know. Maybe it's just the promotion aspect. I don't know. But I've showed you now, both men are connected at KPFK, and both men, at least by their words, testify to the importance of KPFK radio, and that if it goes away, we're going to extinguish the truth. That's what Chris said. Extinguish the truth. And progressive change will become impossible. That's what he said. Okay, so then when he goes on Jimmy Dore's show, let me pause it for a minute. When he goes on Jimmy Dore's show, where's the big giant cursor? When he goes on Jimmy Dore's show, pause. I'm going to pause it for a minute here. Okay, I'm getting carried away, but do you get my point? Greg Palast is an ambassador, basically, for KPFK. And for one reporter to be so affiliated with one station and one network, the Pacifica Radio Network, is weird, right? You just work, you just do the reporting, man. Leave the money, leave the fundraising to us, right? I guess, I don't know. I don't know but okay, here's the point. All these guys, it's a simple point. I'm just saying Chris Hedges, Jimmy Dore, Greg Palast all failed Journalism 101. The first thing you learn, hey man, you got to disclose any conflicting financial or professional affiliations that you might have with the people that you're talking to on air. Okay, it's just. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You just do that if you're being honest. Otherwise, it's a live omission. You're not telling the listeners everything they need to know about the full context of what you're telling them. Okay? You're not telling us that both of you work for a nearby radio station in a network that raises money continually, that is continually in a fundraising mode and promoting people's books and syndicating radio shows and who knows what else, accepting money from who knows who. Okay? That was my only point. And I think I've proven it, that Chris Hedges, Jimmy Dore, and Greg Palast are affiliated financially and professionally with KPFK now. Let me pause it for a second. Okay, on an update, and bam, nothing was ever the same. Nothing was ever the same.
Right now, we're excited to have our next guest join us. He's Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. He was pushed out of the New York Times for telling the truth about the Iraq War. He's the columnist at SheerPost.com and the author of many best-selling books, including the most recent America, the Farewell Tour, which we covered here on this show. He's one of the most important voices in contemporary journalism. It's Chris Hedges. Hi, Chris. Thanks for coming on.
Mum's the word. Mum is the word. I wrote an article about it, wordpress.com, Who's the Savage Now. They're obligated. Okay, not only that would it be a great opportunity to promote the station and the network and help with fundraising and all of that, if that's what they believe. I mean, if they believe what they say to us when they're raising money for the station, why wouldn't you promote it on your wildly popular YouTube show with 850,000 subscribers? Why would you not mention it? It's malfeasance not to. It's journalistic, not to mention, it's journalistic malfeasance not to mention it. A mutual financial affiliation both of these guys have, but mum is the fucking word here. What's up? That's weird. That's not right. That is not right. That irks me. That irks me to no end. Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, my fucking ass.
Jimmy, thanks.
So,
why does he look like a fucking Nazi from a Spielberg fucking movie? What the fuck is up with that? Big Chris Hedges fan. Otherwise, like what the guy says, the guy seems to have his finger on the pulse. But what is going on here, guys? You should disclose your mutual affiliation with KPFK, financial affiliation. And you know what? Because you're not doing it, you know what that says to me? Something's funny. Something's funny going on over there. There's something funny about that place. Something's not right. Something's wrong over there. The fact that none of them mention it. All these people that promote their books over there, go on the shows, talk, blah, 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 give their opinions. Jimmy's got a show there. But mum is the word when he has on Chris Hedges. Okay? Mum is the word. Let's see if he mentions it on the outro. I don't think he did. I think I watched it. He didn't. He doesn't. He doesn't. I'll pause while buffers here. I'm sorry, guys. Is at the top of the KPFK archives. You see that? I'm in the KPFK archives at kpfk.org. I'm so wound up I can't even talk. That his name is right there. He's on this show it's a 3-minute blurb for something. It's advertisement. Send money. Go to gregpalast.com. He also has a C3 a nonprofit organization, 501c3. Greg Palast does. I wonder how much it costs to get him to write a little story for you. You see Jimmy Dore here? Jimmy Dore live in the KPFK audio archives. There's Jimmy Dore live, okay? So look, their name is, look, here's Greg, and here's Jimmy, okay? In the KPFK audio archives, all right? I'm not making this up. That's his name, and that's his name. Okay, look how close they are in the archives just today. This is random. So here's Jimmy This is from 2019, okay? A year and a half ago, all right? And Greg's been on at KPFK Pacifica for 20 years, all right? And Jimmy, I don't know when he started, but he's been on for the last 2 or 3 years. So both of them have been there at the time of this interview. Let's see if they mention it.
Live stream about the Jimmy Dore Show. We have a special guest that just stopped in with us. Hang on, I want to read his introduction.
Jimmy's finagling around here. This is unprofessional. This is weird. This is a weird thing to do. Wait a minute. I have his thing here. We have a special. That's a weird thing that he's doing there.
Hi, everybody.
My contention is that he didn't want to have Greg on, but that somebody at KPFK said, "Hey, man, can you please have Greg on? It would really help us out." Blah blah. Whatever. I don't know. And Jimmy said, "All right, I'll have him on."
Back to the live stream about the Jimmy Dore Show. We have a special guest that just stopped in with us. Hang on,
Who could that be? What? Hang on. What do you mean, hang on? We're live, baby. What do you mean, hang on? Hang on what? This is live. This is live, baby.
I want to read his introduction.
Well, you want to? Why don't you just do it?
Hang on.
Look at him. Look at him fumbling around. He's doing this on purpose. This is not spontaneous. He's doing this on purpose.
I printed it out on special.
He printed it out on special. Gee, Jimmy. Thanks for the info. Okay. I was wondering about that. I was wondering if he printed it out or what format he was going to read it on.
I want to read his introduction.
I was wondering about the format.
I printed it out on special.
Thanks, Jimmy. We're all wondering about the format.
Alice is here. He's covered Venezuela for the BBC television and...
Wait a minute.
I want to read his introduction. Hang on. I print...
Steph's giggling. To hear Steph giggling? Why is she... What's funny? What's funny about this? He's fucking up as a broadcast journalist, as a broadcaster. He's fucking up. He doesn't have his shit together. But Stephanie, it's funny to Steph. Did you hear that? That's weird.
So guest that just stopped in with us. Hang on, I have his...
A guest that just stopped in with us, probably after just doing interviews at KPFK Studios in North Hollywood. Down the street, figuratively. Okay? Or on his way there right after this interview. Because he was on a lot of shows around this same time at KPFK. Lila Garrett, that show that I highlight, was around this same time, March 2019.
I want to read his introduction. Hang on. I printed it out on special.
You printed it out on special, what, paper? What? That sounds like an incomplete, that's like a sentence fragment. I printed it out on special, what? Stationery? This is weird. This is just,
Back
it's
to
weird.
the live stream about the Jimmy Dore Show. We have a special guest that just stopped in with us. Hang on, I want to read his introduction. Hang on. I printed it out on special. Greg Palast is here. He's covered Venezuela for the BBC television and The Guardian. And
in 2003, in 2002, like 20 years, like 15 years ago. Yeah. Why don't you? Yeah. Where was he born? Why don't you go back to like his childhood? Where did he go to high school? Why don't you bring up something? Why don't you bring up that, Jimmy? Where did he go to freaking high school? I mean, you're going back. You're going back decades here. When he was working for the BBC. Decades, man.
Special. Greg Palast is here. He's covered...
I'm getting excited. This is not the point, okay? I'm getting overexcited. My point is both of them are financially and professionally affiliated with KPFK and Pacifica, which is near Jimmy's house, the studio, but none of them mention it, and that's weird.
Venezuela for the BBC television and The Guardian, and you can get the film of his investigative reports, The Assassination of Hugo Chavez, as a free download.
The reports? You can get the reports?
See television and The Guardian, and you can get the film of his investigative reports, The Assassination of Hugo Chavez, as a free download at gregpalast.com. It's Greg Palast.
His website is mentioned before the guy even makes an appearance on the show. gregpalast.com. And his film. He mentions his film. This guy's just a salesman.
Greg,
Hey, Jimmy.
thanks for being here again. I appreciate it.
I love it here.
Now, you've done a lot of great work, and recently you've done some great work on the cross-check.
Yes,
And
on
so
both theft.
Okay, anyway, yeah, whatever. Did any mention of KPFK? Any disclosure about financial affiliation, mutual financial affiliations? Anything? Nope. Not a zilch.
The GOP, how Trump stole the election. My film,
How Trump stole what election? Oh, okay, 2016 maybe.
The Best Democracy Money Can Buy.
That's a 20-year-old book. It was published in like 2003. His book, The Best Democracy Money Can Buy. Look it up.
About how Trump shoplifted the election, how they're going to shoplift 2020. So,
And then he predicts that Trump's going to steal 2020, and he wrote a book about that. How'd that go?
but they're not satisfied with stealing the American elections. They have to steal the Venezuelan elections too while they're at it.
They have to steal the Venezuelan elections. Now, so you have some very interesting. So we've covered Venezuela extensively here at the show. So, like, for instance, well, they're not showing this kind of stuff, right? So this Abby Martin.
Okay, they go on to talk about Venezuela. Jim and Greg doesn't give any dates. He says, I talked to Hugo Chavez. Well, when did you talk to him? Where were you? He just says, I talked to him. Hugo Chavez told me. That was what it was. Hugo Chavez told me. Well, when did he tell you it? And where was it? Where did he tell you it? I mean, he gives no context. Do you want to hear it? He gives no context. Like, what kind of a...
Many Western news outlet.
Never mind. Let's see if there's anything in the outro for KPFK. Then his video's over. See if there's anything in the outro. I'll pause while we're buffering. Apologies. And the truth will disappear. Quote unquote, Chris Hedges said, right? I don't know what's going on. I'm just asking questions. I'm just pointing things out that I see here. As a decades-long listener to the station, no longer. I'm done with that station. It needs to die. There's something seriously wrong with that station. It's got a voodoo on it, and you ain't getting it off. You ain't getting that voodoo off of there. It's got to be reborn somehow. So, excuse me. It's been a long video. I got to end this video. Have a blessed day and be grateful. MZ out.